Hello and welcome to Small Business, Big Life inside Fort Orange General Store, where entrepreneurship meets marriage, kids, and controlled chaos. I'm Joe Slicko, and with me, as always, is my wife, business partner, and owner of the Fort Orange General Store, Erica Cubello.
Hi everyone, how are you today? I have been told that I'm not allowed to greet Joe anymore because that's just weird. We live together, so why would I say hi to Joe? I have been told that I need to start saying hi to all of you, which is a lot nicer, and I should have been doing that from the beginning, so I apologize. Hi everybody, how are you doing today?
Thank you for that little monologue, Erica. What a great way to start episode
I
7.
know, and I sounded super robotic, so
Hey, we tried it, right?
it's weird. I still have to perfect it.
We'll go back to saying hi to me if you want to.
I like that better. Let's take a little poll from our listeners. Was it weird that I said hi to Joe? I didn't think so, but then again, I read social situations very differently than most, so let's hear from you.
And that all comes from my boss, Jeff. So shout out to Jeff for his amazing critique of the podcast, which really means that he was listening and loves us dearly. That's how I'm taking that.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you to everybody who's tuned in for the past 6 episodes because really, without you all, we wouldn't be here and able to talk about our stories, our life, and how small business it runs and is integrated. So, thank you for all of that.
And thank you to everyone who has already smashed those like and subscribe buttons. I heard that on a YouTube short.
Smashed?
Yeah, that's what they say now. That's what the kids are saying.
Oh,
Did you know that?
nah, I can't keep up on it all.
I think it just means press, but it sounds more fun and exciting and exhilarating to our new generation.
Smash those buttons. Smash them. I don't like
And on that note, let's get into today's episode. So, today we are talking about success, but specifically, we're talking about how definitions of success change over time and can even change over the course of a calendar year, especially in a small business.
that.
And we're kind of living that now. So, we thought, what a great time to bring that up.
Yeah. How we're defining success for our almost going into our second calendar year of business.
So, I think to frame the conversation a little bit, let's go back in time. Toot, 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 toot. That was my back in time noise.
Don't you have buttons that you can use?
Yes, but I didn't label them and I forget which one was which. So I decided to just do right there. So now here we are back in time. Little Erica Cabello, you're at home. You're a child right now. Talk about what you thought or were taught success was back then.
All right. So growing up, I saw very hardworking role models. My father owned his own business, still owns his own business, and extremely hardworking, always working. That's what I remember, and that's what I saw success to be. That you are a hardworking, head down, grind it out. My mom was also a very hardworking mother. She worked for a little while as we were growing up when there was just my brother and I. And, she was very dedicated to the family and always put her family first, herself last. So, with those two frameworks for parent figures and success, there was one that was always working and working for the family to provide, and the other that was always literally working for the family and putting everyone else first. So Joe, how about you? How did you see success as a child, as little Joe, little Joey Slicko?
Well, mine was a little bit different. I think my childhood was a little bit, different than yours. So a lot of the success that I saw was kind of in the survival type mode, providing for myself from an early age as necessary, but also the success that I did see from the house around me was a very outwardly, what does public perception look like, and that equals success. So, despite what was going on in the house, how could we mask that to the outside world? And if you did that appropriately, then you were being successful. So, it wasn't necessarily about the hard work, like you said, or the taking care of others. It was, what persona can you put on to the outside world to make everyone think that you have the best, look the best, have the most money, are doing all the things, which may not actually be true in reality.
Hmm.
So it was a distorted view of success looking back.
Interesting. Yeah. And how does that like translate into the next part of your life and then my situation, my life? How does success change into becoming who we are today?
Well, I think it was probably around high school for me
Mm-hmm.
when, I started coming into my own a little bit, start seeing the world a little more broadly than, the walls of your own house and, what you grow up in, learning that there's, more to life out there. And I started to equate success to getting a good job, making money, being able to provide for a family that I knew I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
being stable, and being able to be self sufficient. That was big for me. Not having to rely on others, not
Mm-hmm.
having to rely on others for support, and being able to kind of go it alone, because I came from an environment where I didn't really trust that I would have the support if I ever needed it, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
Yeah. What what age do you think that this happened, this little shift?
High school.
Yeah.
So, 15, 16, 17, somewhere around there. And probably around the time that I decided that I wanted to teach, for all those reasons too. How about you?
Yeah, for me I would probably say around the same time, high school, and more specifically like junior senior year, when you have to make that next step, that next choice and what you're going to do with your life. I i knew, like you said, Joe, that I eventually wanted to have a family, and my interests at the time were in art and how I could be successful by still like having some sort of inner passion that I enjoyed doing. And so I gravitated towards teaching because I had a lot of very positive role models in my life through school that were art teachers. And I thought that was just a natural progression for me to go into that field so I could not only help others, like you talked about, but still maintain a steady paycheck and time off to be with my family. So I think that was my definition of success at that point in my life.
Great. Then I will say, I'll jump in. There I am teaching, loving it, math teacher, and I'm successful, if you will, based on scores, based on, interactions with students and, the relationships I'm building with them, coworkers. And I start climbing the ladder. It's not the corporate ladder because it's education, but it's the ladder. And I become department chair, eventually assistant principal. Then I decide it's time for me to go out and make my own mistakes and become principal of a small Catholic school. That goes sideways, and we have to bail the school out from closing, and that's a whole nother story episode for another time altogether. But in that, I kind of hit the peak of what I could do as a Catholic school principal, which is what I always wanted to do and where I aspired to be and where I thought I would be happiest and kind of end the journey, not, stop doing it, but that was the goal for me in my own mind.
When did you find that? Like, when did you realize that was your goal, was to become principal of a Catholic school?
I think within a couple years of teaching, I was getting feedback from my colleagues that, I saw things differently. I saw things from a different lens, a different point of view, um, from a slightly higher perspective. And I had ideas. And if those ideas were implemented, it would make their lives easier and a better situation for the kids. So I was getting that feedback from, others around me, just in casual conversations, faculty room, friends, all the things. So that's kind of where it developed in me.
And you said this was only a couple years into teaching?
Yes,
You were 21 when you started teaching.
I was 21 when I started
So
teaching.
you were not even halfway through your 20s when you were identified as having this greater role.
Correct.
Yeah,
And I made an artificial goal for myself that I wanted to be a principal by the age of 30.
that's crazy. I mean, very highly motivated. And I can't help but put together what you said earlier, success in, like, as a child. And now you're not even 25 and you're being told that you see things differently and you're wiser than most. And your younger years defined your success very quickly, I would say.
Yeah, I would definitely think so.
I don't know what that means right now and why I just branched off into that, but clearly that all of our experiences shape us and put us on these paths, right? And yours was very early success, to knowing what you wanted earlier in your life.
Yes, I would agree with you. And I appreciate the connection. I love making connections. So thank you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I did, by about 3 weeks, make my goal. And I was a principal before my 30th birthday, which was great. But then again, I found myself, quote, at the top. I don't know if that's the right phrasing, and I don't really view it that way, but I'm a principal in a Catholic school. There's nowhere else to go there. I was maxed out with salary, and the challenge wasn't exciting to me anymore.
So, did you feel successful at that point?
I felt successful, but not fulfilled and not done, and not like I did the things that I am supposed to do
So, you
yet.
hit your goal,
Yes.
but you did not feel successful.
Ultimate success.
Yeah,
No, I felt successful in hitting the goal, but I
right.
wasn't like, I'm retiring. This is it. Feet up.
This is me for the next 20 years,
Correct.
25 years
Correct.
to retirement. Yeah.
Right. The challenge wasn't enough for me.
Okay. Wow. And that's a long time to, like, not feel successful. Like, if you were to keep yourself on that track.
Yes, if I were to have just kept doing the things,
Hmm.
you're right.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess I kind of have those same sentiments of where I was. Like, again, very successful as a young teacher. I got hired before even graduated school for a school district, and very quickly got into the role that I wanted to, and hit that goal of having a public school teaching job in art, which at the time was extremely difficult and hard to come by. Like, lots of competition there. But yeah, a couple years into it, I just wasn't happy, and I was getting all of that outside feedback of how great of a teacher you are, how amazing your student artwork is, and on the outside, like, I was doing everything successfully to, like I said, an outsider, but inside I didn't feel it. I wasn't there. And I didn't really know where to go. So ultimately, that kind of led me to taking some time off from the career that I was dead set on having. And, again, from the outside, that was not looked upon positively, that I was not being successful by following that quote unquote successful path of having that salaried job, your time off, your benefits, your retirement. I didn't want that anymore. It didn't matter because inside of me, I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. And that's where that shift in my brain happened, where I can be successful on the outside, but if you're not happy on the inside, it changes your mindset.
And I think that's a very common thing that entrepreneurs realize about themselves. And I think they hit that moment that no matter what they're doing, what their life path is, they seemingly are successful, but it's not enough. It's not good enough. They're not happy with that. And it's hard for non entrepreneurs to understand that.
Mm.
So, what did you do in this moment?
I took time off from teaching and I ended up going back to school to pursue something that I had wanted to do back in high school. And I also started my first business. Two little offset businesses. One was kind of silly, it didn't really pan out, but the other one took off, which is Seriously Spotless. And I started cleaning houses. And I went back to school to fulfill that need of learning how to do hair and wanted to get my cosmetology degree. So, seemingly not looking very successful at that point from the outside. But inside, I was fulfilled and doing what I wanted to do. Maybe not knowing what I wanted to do, but I felt like I was on the right path.
And I give you credit for that because you knew something internally wasn't jiving. I don't want to say it was wrong, but you
Mm-hmm.
felt a pull away or a pull towards,
Mm-hmm.
who knows. And you decided to act on it.
Mm-hmm.
It may not have been the thing, but you did something. And I think most people stay in the fear of trying the thing, and you didn't. So I give you credit for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It only felt right to do that. I couldn't ignore it at that point in my life. So I went with it.
Great. So let's jump now to we purchase Fort Orange General Store.
Mm-hmm.
As we've talked about on the podcast, we told that whole story. And that November comes, the end of November, and we're owners. What did success look like in our minds at that moment in time?
It was to have good sales and to see how we could push margins, how to clean up um, the business and get our numbers better, like working.
And how long would you say that lasted in terms of, that fulfillment
A couple of
internally?
months, like, I mean, really a day, right? Like you hit those numbers and it's like immediate gratification, and that doesn't really last that long because there's ups and downs, ebbs and flows of sales. So we both knew that just riding this as success internally is not enough for us because we have, as teachers, this community and personal relationship focus. And if we're just strictly looking at numbers, it's not fulfilling at our core.
Very well said. So we've done episodes of all the community things that we're doing. We've done an episode on the Christmas season, the big holiday season, and how tremendous that was for us. And I look at all these reels on Instagram, which you make fun of me for because I send them to you because it's kind of my love language. And it's about small businesses in January and February and how things change
Mm-hmm.
post holiday, which is true and it's real. You can't expect the holiday rush to last forever, obviously. But the way it's portrayed on the reels that I'm seeing anyway is quite negative.
Mm-hmm.
employees standing around, nothing to do, things like that.
Right, looking depressed that no customers are coming into the store and just kind of standing there upset. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, A, that's not true. That's not reality. And B, I don't think that properly articulates what success is in a bigger picture, kind of global view of the term.
No.
So, can you talk a little bit about what success looks like when we're not slammed with customers from open to close? And there might be some ebbs and flows of, downtime here and there with sales.
Hmm.
What are we doing in those moments, and how is that successful?
Yeah, well, we need that time to recharge ourselves and look inward at what we're doing at the core of our business. So, are we organized in the back room, for example? Like, we both spent time during January and February reorganizing and making it easier for our employees to navigate how to get stuff on the floor. Taking time to meet with our community partners to brainstorm like the upcoming spring season, or how can we be more involved in these events that are coming up. Taking the time for you and I to brainstorm our own products, the next line we want to put out. So it's not just numbers, like you said, like we need to have this downtime in order to recharge ourselves and become creative in our business strategies and how we can become more involved, not just in the store, but like outside of our store too.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the biggest things that kind of points to that is what we just did 2 weekends ago now, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
when we partnered up with the Albany Capital Center.
Mm-hmm.
And we did what was, in essence, a pop up event at a conference where we brought a shopping experience to a educational conference that was new, and it was an innovative idea
Yeah.
that we had to sell the idea as much as we were selling our products.
Right.
Do you want to talk a little bit about kind of how that came up?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, Albany Capital Center has been amazing in collaborating with us and ideas, bouncing things off of each other. And this one came about back in January, and they asked us to be a part of the New York State Superintendent's Conference to bring Fort Orange to them, to their clientele, because this conference is jam packed. People don't really get time to go out into Albany and explore the city. So, Albany Capital Center wanted to bring Albany to them in their transitions between meetings, in their lunch breaks, their coffee breaks. So we brought a curated selection of items that showcased our store. And Joe and I were there just talking about our business, ourselves, our products, and people were confused, right? They didn't quite understand what we were doing there. And so I started joking, like, this is your retail therapy, right? Because conferences get long and you need to break it up and have some fun. And then the understanding started flowing, and it was amazing. The feedback we got was so energizing. Like, this is great. We've never seen anything like this before. Just all the positive comments coming. And it re energized Joe and I to be more creative in our business model and our business thinking. So, had this been brought to us during the holiday rush, we wouldn't have been able to participate in this just because of the sheer volume. But in these like months where, it's a little bit slower, we are able to think more creatively and bring business more creatively to our community.
Very well said. And from the numbers point of view, it
Hmm.
was a huge success as well.
It was.
People absolutely loved it. And like Erica said, once we educated the educators on what we were doing, they all went, oh my God, why isn't this a thing?
Hmm.
This is amazing.
Hmm.
So great job brainstorming with the Capital Center and getting that done.
Well, yeah, thank you to our amazing partners, Shannon and Monica. We wouldn't be able to work this creatively without them.
Yes, they are phenomenal leaders in Albany and just doing so many great things. That's going to be a whole episode right there. We'll get them on and they can just talk and talk and talk and
Community partners.
absolutely. So, how does this show up at home? What we started the podcast by talking about our upbringings
Hmm.
and how that defined success in our own minds. What are we doing with our children, our little brood that we have here? And how is that kind of playing out?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's different for each of them, where we have the age ranges from 16 to almost 4 now. Each one of them is seeing it a little bit differently, right? So, from the youngest one, our almost 4-year old, he, Fort Orange is just ingrained in him. Oh, I got that at Fort Orange. Oh, I'll wear my Fort Orange shirt today. And this is the way he sounds because he has this like strange little accent that we can't place. So, like, Fort Orange is just natural to him. That's what it is. Then our next one up is learning the kind of bones of what it means to run and own a business. He's seen Seriously Spotless and now he's seen this next progression of Fort Orange and he's trying to like figure that out, right? Like how can he be involved? He likes it, but what's his place there? And then I don't know if you want to speak for our 12-year-old and 16-year-old.
Sure. I think the 12-year-old is at the point where he's learning the relationship end. He's seeing the interactions with customers when he's there. We had First Friday, which we talk about all the time. You guys are probably sick of hearing about it, but we just had one. And all the boys were there. And I caught him so many times reading the room, looking at the people, understanding what they were doing, what they were buying, what they were talking about. And I could see his little brain synthesizing all of that together. And he's the one, when we're talking about a vendor that we had a conversation with, or a customer interaction, or an interaction, with an employee, he always has questions and then, offers solutions. Of course, at the 12-year-old level, but how, we can navigate those situations. So I see him in like that HR people kind of end of it.
Hmm.
And then we have our oldest, our daughter, who I told in a previous podcast is doing her own, little business on the side, and they're looking into a DBA, her and, the four other friends that are involved with this. So she's kind of running with, the actual business end of it, but she likes the marketing end a little bit more. That's what she's kind of gravitating towards in both social media and like design
Hmm.
almost. So, yes, they each take their own thing out of it. And what do you think they'll say success is after watching us years down the line navigate this process?
That's a great question. And I, I don't know. I feel a little bit speechless right now. I think success to them will be that we didn't give up, that we just kind of kept going with it, right? And figuring out what the next thing that was needed is. Maybe success is problem solving and figuring it out, right? Like there might not be a real clear answer there, but success is following your inner knowing and making it happen.
I don't think it's a nice, easy textbook answer by any means. I think you summed it up very nicely. I think to put my own words on it, I would like them to see success as taking calculated risks,
Mm.
being able to put yourself in a situation
Mm-hmm.
where you're able to do the things you want to do and sustain yourself in the process for a period of time as you're figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I always say about you, Erica, is that you are a true entrepreneur because you put your money where your mouth is. It's very easy to play with other people's money and take a risk and succeed or fail. And again, fail forward. We always talk about that. But that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then to do it with your own and step away from a career or, for a moment in time, whatever the case may be, and put it on the line
Mm-hmm.
and not know if you're going to be able to pay your employees, your rent, your mortgage, go to the same grocery store, buy, go on the same vacations, all of that. That is a completely different level of bad blank personality. This is a family friendly podcast, so I said bad blank, that I admire and absolutely love about you specifically.
Well, thank you for saying that, Joe. It's so funny and weird to hear you say those things about me because that's just who I am, and it doesn't feel like when you started calling me an entrepreneur, I'm like, what? I don't know. I'm not that because that's just my brain. That's how it works. Like I never classified myself in that way. That's just what I do. Like I take risks on myself because I know that I can do it if I put my brain to it. Like I'm not going to let myself fail.
And that's why I'm here to put all those labels on the things that you do on a daily basis for you so you don't have to do it and feel awkward about it.
Whether I am welcoming it or not.
I think that's another podcast all in itself right there.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joe, for recognizing who I am because I didn't.
That's what I'm here for. And on that note, I think that is a perfect place to stop this week's edition of our podcast.
So, thank you everybody for tuning in today. And we want to hear from you. If anything hit a certain way and you have any comments to share with us, we really want to hear your stories, your opinions. What do you think about what we're talking?
And how do you define success? We would love to hear that. And also, has that changed over time? Anything you want to share with us, we would love to hear and perhaps even talk about on a future episode. So we're looking forward to hearing from you. And once again, thank you all for listening, as always, on
Small Business, Big Life, inside Fort Orange General Store.